They've got to be spending their time doing what a sales manager is supposed to do, and that's generate sales with their team.
Hello, I've got Wayne Moloney with me again. Welcome back, Wayne.
Hi, John.
Hey, we've been talking through your book, and we're up to chapter 6. Your book is the roadmap to sales management success.
Yeah.
And you're giving me some great insight. Thanks, and hopefully you're getting value out there in the marketplace.
Thank you.
Chapter 6, you talk about delegation. The sales manager must be a great delegator.
Yeah.
I always think of delegation as a classic task and skill and capability that any manager needs to have. Is there anything special about delegation in the sales management role?
Look, you're right. It is something that all managers need to have. But from a sales role, one of the things that is so easy for a sales manager to do is when the going gets tough, they will often go out and make the sales themselves rather than insist on the individual doing what they're supposed to do, and that's sell. And the sales manager's role is to help them be successful. So they delegate down, if you like, by making sure that people take responsibility for what their role is and not stepping in and doing it themselves, because there's no benefit to the organisation in them doing that.
It's a classic, isn't it? Particularly really successful salespeople that have been promoted into be sales managers get a little frustrated when the people with less skills are fluffing around in a deal and they want to take over.
Yeah, and if you step in and take over rather than insist on that delegation that you've already made, you take away the confidence of the individual for them to be able to try later, and you also lose the opportunity to identify where those individuals may need some assistance and be able to coach them to better performance at a later date.
And even if you lose a deal because you didn't jump in yourself, they're going to learn more so they don't lose for the same reason next time.
You would hope
so. Important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And also delegate up is also important, because again, one of the problems that sales managers have that I've seen over the years is the insistence by management for reporting and administration that really adds no value to what they're doing as sales managers.
A lot of organisations I've gone into and had discussions with all the sales managers, and that's one of the top issues. We're just bogged down with administration. We don't have time to go out and be a leader and be a coach and spend time in the field. We've got so much time we've got to commit to all this administration.
Yeah.
So what are you saying the solution is?
Well, the solution is to make sure you're delegating appropriately. We spoke earlier about the sales manager needing to be courageous. Well, they've got to be courageous to stand up to the senior management or the management that might be demanding things that aren't going to help them as salespeople. And we also spoke earlier about supervising a reporting system. Well, if they're being asked to report on things that are of no value to the sales team and of no value or of lesser value to the organisation, stand up for that. Do something about it and delegate to appropriate people within the organisation. All too often you will see things, we'll just get sales to do that, or we'll just get sales to report on it because someone somewhere thinks that getting that report is going to be helpful to them.
And at the end of the sales year and you haven't made your numbers, the last thing you want to do is put the excuse up that, I had all this admin to do, all the pressure you put on me, we didn't have time to actually get in and sell.
Yeah, as you know, John, that's no excuse at that point in time.
No way. So push back and delegate down to the team and make sure they're responsible for what they're supposed to be doing. And what about delegating up? I mean, if there are things that are essential that need to be done, but you think that somebody else should be doing it, shouldn't you be delegating sideways or up or into?
Part of the role of a sales manager is to build their networks internally, just as a salesperson has to build their networks externally. Mm-hmm. So you'd be working with the rest of the management team to make sure that they can see the benefits to the company of you not necessarily doing something that someone else should be doing.
Let's give a guide to the sales managers out there. How much time should a sales manager expect to be in the field working with their people compared to admin work?
Oh, look, great question, John. And I know this is a cliched statement in business, but the old 80-20 rule comes up again.
Right.
If you're engaged and employed within an organisation to be a sales manager and you're not spending 80% of your time managing what is generating sales for the organisation, you're wasting a lot of time.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't be there at all.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's a problem with that, of course, because, as we've talked, all the management are putting the pressure on you to do admin work. Yeah. So the delegation is so important, isn't it?
The delegation's absolutely critical.
Okay. All right. Great advice. So a sales manager needs to be a great delegator to manage their time and ensure they get the productivity happening in the field.
They've got to be spending their time doing what a sales manager is supposed to do, and that's generate sales with their team.
Thanks, Wayne. Great advice, good chapter. Look forward to talking about the next one.
Thanks, John.